So how was Castlevania Season 4? Well, I think that's a pretty important question to ask, considering that the series has ended. There's been a fair few confirmations that Netflix has canceled Castlevania after the 4th season. Well, it may have been in the plans for a while, but the problem is that a lot of the plots that they had going kind of just ended without a lot of forethought or a lot of conflict, conflict's kind of important. It's like the one thing you need to have a plot. So you have the big badass like villains of the series. You have Carmilla and her court of evil vampires. And, you know, they're like just busy doing their thing, being evil, and all of them either die or they just give up in a kind of uncharacteristic way, which is kind of weird. And then you have other characters that either die or they just make up with whoever they were beefing against in the previous seasons. I know that there's been 4 seasons with these characters, but let's be honest, you don't remember half their names either, do you? It's been 4 seasons. I've rewatched this show twice, and I still don't remember a lot of the characters that showed up. That's not like a jab at Netflix. It's just like some of the characters weren't the strongest. So, for example, the one, I don't remember her name, but I do remember that she was a speaker magician. Don't remember her name at all. She was a good character, however, she was not that memorable compared to a lot of others, like Alucard and Trevor. However, even with Trevor, I kept confusing him for Simon Belmont for some reason. I think it's just because Simon Belmont's a better name. I mean, as long as they're not calling Trevor Belmont Treffer, I think we're good.
Trevor is a terrible name.
So it's a pretty decent season, although it's still not the strongest season. I would say the best episode is probably the second to last episode where the characters fight Death. However, I do have issues with that episode because Death was kind of like, they didn't really hint at them eventually fighting Death. And I know he's not actually Death. I know he's just a character that feeds on Death because he has the little canines, the little teeth that vampires do, and he's just like a death vampire. I don't know what he bites. Maybe that's just a style thing. Maybe he just saw all the cool kids with sharp teeth and were like, yeah, I should do that. And then he filed his teeth down. So with that character, I don't think that they were originally going to make Death the final boss of the last episode because one, it's a very weird progression. For example, like Alucard and What's-Her-Face, the speaker magician, like they both decide to just like nope out of there and not help Trevor. They all think he's dead at the end of the episode. But then, surprise, he turns up in a later episode. I actually kind of wish that he would have died. Because he had all his plots wrapped up, and like if they wanted to continue a series in the same universe, they always could have used the series around his son. And let's be honest, Trevor didn't really have that great of a character arc this season. So I feel like killing him off might have been the best way to go. And also, I'm not a fan of when TV shows and movies are just like, this character died, you'll never see them again, cry for me. If I ever rewatch it again, I'm not gonna feel sad, ever. I'm just gonna feel manipulated and probably have a little bit of irritation towards that show. I'm okay with just doing it like briefly because obviously the characters are probably gonna think that those other characters are dead. When you leave it off for like a whole episode and then you're expecting the audience to just be like, oh wow, they're really dead. And then they bring them back through some like absolute bull. Saint Germain, he opened up a portal to the infinite corridor and then he dropped Trevor's useless ass in there and then he just dropped him out of there and then everything's fine. That's what happened. It's not the strongest season, but it's not the worst season ever. It's definitely worth watching, and an okay out of 10. The second to last episode was pretty cool. It was just Trevor fighting death, which, how powerful is Trevor? Because he was having trouble with one vampire earlier in the show, and just that one vampire almost killed him, but then like an episode later he's killing death by himself. Does that mean that if you had like 2 or 3 just regular vampires, 2 or 3 vampires could take out death? If he can defeat death while almost dying, then why couldn't the other 2 help him? Why were they just like, yeah, you got this, Trevor, bye? Like he says to what's-her-face, who can fly, by the way, there's no reason that she wouldn't have been able to get over there. He said to what's-her-face, I love you, and then he just goes over and he's like, I'm gonna kill death now. Then they're just like, yeah, you do that. Why didn't you 2 idiots help him? You're terrible friends. It's still a good episode. My stupid nerd brain was just like giddy at all the crazy stuff that was happening, and really good animation, by the way. This season had amazing animation. But it's like, if the plot gets in the way of you enjoying the animation, then you may have issues with something like this. The whole Rebus thing, the whole hermaphrodite Dracula thing was kind of out of nowhere, and now Dracula and his wife are now living in the real world, and their whole subplot is all wrapped up, but I guess that leaves it open to make a sequel series. Netflix did say that they're making a series set in the same universe as Castlevania. So that can mean a number of things, because there is also a rumor going around that the Devil May Cry anime, which they announced like a year or 2 ago, there are rumors that that show is going to be set in the same universe as Castlevania, which I'm not sure how to feel about, unless they do some sort of like multiversal thing, or it's like set way in the past and vampires are extinct now or something. I don't know, I'm not usually a fan of when TV shows try to mess with the source material mythos, although I am just excited to have Devil May Cry anime, because I did enjoy the original anime, and I hope that they actually take the source material and do something good with it. It's kind of like the 4th God of War game in that aspect. The plot's there, you basically just have to transcribe it. Considering that a lot of the characters in Castlevania, they had to make solid characters, because in the games they were basically just things for you to fight. Castlevania Season 4 and Castlevania as a whole, I would rate a 7.5 out of 10, and I would rate Castlevania Season 4 a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe a 6 out of 10, but that's not a bad grade for me, because like I view like 5 out of 10, maybe 5.5 out of 10 being like the perfect middle, so that's like an okay show. So this is a decent season, and the show as a whole is really good. It's not amazing, but it's definitely worth the watch. So with the Castlevania anime and with the Devil May Cry anime, I'd say we have the possibility of some really, really, really good storytelling up ahead of us, because I'm excited. So how are you guys feeling about this anime? What are your opinions, thoughts, and just let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.